Hello everyone, and welcome back to Sign Language Worship. My name is Mandy, and I am really glad that you are here. Sign Language Worship is a YouTube channel dedicated to teaching you how to use sign language in order to worship our Lord and Savior. This week, we're going to be learning how to sign This Is Our God by Phil Wickham, which is an incredible song with so much energy, but it is fast. So we're going to do our best to power through. We're going to do this one in 4 parts. So today we'll learn the really big verse and the chorus. Tomorrow we will learn the second big verse and the bridge. And then the third day we'll walk through, and then finally signing with the music. Remember that I am left-handed. That means if you are right-handed, you're going to mirror my signs. And if you look below the video in the description, there's lots of really helpful information there, including a link to print off lyrics. And last but not least, please consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, let's get started with remember those walls called sin and shame. So for remember, for this, you kind of have a thumbs up hand, but not all the way up, just kind of like that. Other hand the same. Start here at your forehead. Remember, okay, and tap it twice. Remember. Remember, and then those walls, you just kind of make walls. And in this particular situation, the walls are not good. So it's really great if your facial expression could match that, like walls, right? Walls. So remember the walls that we called sin and shame. Now, some people for this, they actually do call like that, but I'm going to say this we've named, okay? So I would prefer to use the name, but I've seen other people interpretations and they do called there. It's totally up to you. So remember those walls we called sin. So for sin, sorry, name, we've done that so often, I just assume you guys know, but for that you're making H's and it's almost like an X that you make, okay? Name, okay? Name, and then sin, you have kind of like these hands with just your index finger, sin, okay? Sin, ooh. And like I kind of, like it just gets in there, right? And creates trouble. So that's what I kind of picture, sin. And then for shame, you have your fingers here on your cheek, and then shame, okay? Shame, shame. So let's try that from the beginning. Remember those walls that we called sin and shame. They were like prisons. So we're going to do similar to, okay? So we just said sin and shame, similar to prisons. So you have your hands like this, prisons, okay? Prisons that we can't escape. So for can't, you take your index finger, you take your dominant index finger, and you hit your non-dominant one. Can't, and then escape, have that dominant index finger in those fingers, try to get out, okay? Escape. So that line again, they were like prisons that we couldn't escape, but he came and he died and he rose. So normally a word like but I would leave out. But because we're first dealing with like, yucky stuff, sin and shame and prisons that we can't get out of, it's really important here that we sign but, okay? So you have your 2 index fingers crossed and it's like, but hold on, changing, okay? But he, pointing to God in heaven, came. So came, and then he died. He died. Okay, so one hand up, one hand down, and then flip it over. And he rose. So for that, you're going to stand your hand back up. Okay, your dominant hand back up. Now this line is fast, right? He came, he died, he rose. It can look like your hand is moving all over the place. It's totally fine to say he came, he died, and he rose. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a game time decision whether I say he every time or I just do he came, died, and rose, and it can be a game time decision for you too, okay? And then those walls are rubble now. Those walls, rubble, broken. Some people like kind of wiggle their fingers down, but that's the idea. You make the walls, you break them down, and then now. So for now, you have Y hands with your fingers in, now. Okay, let's try that from the top. Remember those walls that we called sin and shame? They were like prisons that we couldn't escape, but he came and he died and he rose. Those walls are rubble now. See right there, it looks like I'm not going to do 3 he's, just 1. Okay. And then remember those giants. So once again, remember and then giants. For this, we're doing tall. So you have your index finger against your non-dominant hand. You're going to bring it up for tall, but then giants are way up there. Okay. Giants. So I'm probably even going to take my finger off the screen. And it's really good if your facial expression is like, oh, big. Okay. Giants. So remember the giants called death and grave. So instead of called, we're doing named. Death, we learned that when he died, right? Death. And then grave is like a mound of dirt. Okay. Remember those giants called death and grave. They were like, and then mountains. So for that, you make rocks, so 2 fists, and then show the really tall mountain, okay? They were like mountains that stood in our way. So I'm going to say stop. Okay, so your dominant hand, bring down, stop our way. Those are W's, and you're almost making a path. Okay, let's stop our way. And then once again, but he came and he died and he rose. Those giants are dead now. And that's the whole verse, okay? So let's try it from the top. I know it's a big verse. But you guys can do big things. Okay, so remember those walls that we called sin and shame. They were like prisons that we couldn't escape, but he came and he died and he rose. Those walls are rubble now. And then that second half, remember those giants called death and grave. They were like mountains that stood in our way, but he came and he died and he rose. Those giants are dead now. Okay, and now moving on to the chorus. The chorus is simpler, okay, guys? So this is our God. So for this, I like to say right here, this is the point I'm making. This is our God. So ours, a cupped hand, shoulder to shoulder. This is our God, the B down the middle of the face. I'm turning my body just so you can see it. You can stay straight on, okay? This is our God. This is who he is. So for who, kind of have, you almost make like the top of a question mark with your index finger and your thumb is touching your chin, okay? Who. So who he is, he loves, and then us. So I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't know why, but I struggle to sign us instead of our. Us is like this. I know I make that mistake all the time. And that's why I tell you that God cares far more about your heart than the position of your hands, because I know I make mistakes too. So I'm telling you right now, this is us. Be prepared that when I actually sign with the music, I'm probably going to mess it up and still sign our, but I'm teaching you right now, okay? So he loves us. This is our God. This is what he does. So this is what he and then does. So for does, you have 2 possibilities. You can do this. So your hands are kind of cupped and go like this, or you can do this. Okay? Really, it's just whatever you've learned. Okay, so for purposes of today, I'm doing this. Okay? Does. Okay. This is what he does. He and then saves us. So for saves, you're making S's. Saves. Okay. He saves us. He bore the cross. Okay. Bore. So like you're shouldering something. Okay. Bore the cross. Your dominant hand is going to go up and then across, making a cross. Okay. He bore the cross. beat the grave. So when you beat something, you have your dominant hand conquering your non-dominant. He beat the grave. We learned that's a mound of dirt. Let heaven and earth proclaim. So I'll tell you the truth. This line is fast. So heaven, roll your hands and then show heaven. I'm just ducking so you can see it, so it stays on screen. Let heaven and earth. So for that, you take your dominant hand and you kind of make a ball on your non-dominant wrist. And earth, proclaim, okay, edges of your mouth and out. Proclaim, this is our God, King Jesus. And then King is a K. King, a K from your non-dominant shoulder down to your hip. And then Jesus, nail-pierced hands. No, it's a lot. We learned a lot today. It's going to be a long video. Okay, let's do the chorus together. And then we're going to put it all together. So this is our God. This is who he is. He loves us. This is our God. This is what he does. He saves us. He bore the cross. He beat the grave. This is a sign for let. Okay, I don't think I did that, but you can do it. Let heaven and earth proclaim, this is our God, King Jesus. Let's try it from the top. Okay, verse 1 and this all together. Okay, remember those walls that we called sin and shame. They were like prisons that we couldn't escape, but he came, he died, and he rose. Those walls are rubble now. And then remember those giants that we call death and grave. They were like mountains that stood in our way, but he came and he died and he rose. Those giants are dead now. And then moving into the chorus that this is our God. This is who he is. He loves us. This is our God. This is what he does. He saves us. See, I just about did an hour there. He saves us. He bore the cross, beat the grave. Let heaven and earth proclaim, this is our God, King Jesus. Okay, guys, so practice that as many times as you need to. And when you're ready, you can go on to the next video where we learn verse 2 and the bridge. I hope wherever you are that you are healthy and you are well, and that I'll see you soon. Bye. Now to him who is able to do far more than we can ask or imagine, according to the power within us. God gave us the power to change the world, and I just pray that you go and show God's love this week, and we'll see you next week for another song. Bye.